Good morning, everybody. Thank you for being here today. I'm Karen Strykowski. I am the Director of Client Change Management here at Wine Shipping. And my role is to make sure that our customers are successful in using our technology and understanding all the services that we have available. Today, I'm going to be focusing on strategies for increasing the delivery on the first attempt. And that sounds pretty darn dull. So what we're really going to be talking about is evolution. And we're going to be talking about how much has changed in the last 5 years and how we as the industry need to evolve and give our customers a better post-purchase experience. So actually, go back there. So a little just more about me. You know, I've evolved in the wine industry. I started in the wine industry in 2006, and I moved to Anderson Valley, and I had, my husband had an opportunity there, and so we moved there. And, if you've ever been to Anderson Valley in Mendocino County, you know that there's not a lot of industry there, but there are a lot of wineries. And so I went ahead and, went onto Craigslist over 2006, and I filtered by Mendocino County. And sure enough, there was one job posting for somewhere in Anderson Valley. And it was for a winery just a couple miles down from where I moved. So I sent my resume in, and they called me 30 minutes after they got my resume. And I was like, oh, this is cool, great. And they wanted to talk to me tomorrow. So, I said, great, I prepared for my interview, and I drove on there. I thought maybe it would be like an hour and a half interview. It turned out to be nearly 3.5 hours. And, I started off with the tasting room management team, and they sat me down, and we were talking, and man, they started to just grill me on my wine knowledge. And I was unsuccessful at saying Gewürztraminer, unsuccessful at knowing about what malolactic fermentation was, and barrel-aged was a little fuzzy on exactly what that meant. So when I was done with the tasting room managers, I had to walk up the hill to talk to the owners. And as I walked up the hill, I thought to myself, well, that was the worst interview I've ever given. Great. And I got up to talk to the owners, and I sat down with the owners, and we talked for an hour and a half, and I think 99% of that conversation was not about wine. But then at the very end, they said, Karen, tell me, what do you know about wine? And I said, well, not a lot, but you know what I do know? I know what I like, and I know what I don't like. And I'll say that after all these years of being in the wine industry, that tenet is, I truly believe that is what matters the most. It's our job to figure out what our customers like and then provide that product and get it to them in their hands. I ended up spending over 12 years at that winery. And I wore every hat. And I think that anybody here that is on the winery side knows what that means. And people would ask me, well, what's your job title? And I'd be like, well, what's today? Because, I wear a million hats, and I did everything from the tasting room to event planning, to the donations, to helping with compliance, to the wine club, to the credit card payments, you name it, I did all the things. But eventually I left, and I moved on to a wine sales company, and I was the director of sales operations there. And, I didn't realize that the winery I had worked for was fairly unique. They produced 50,000 cases, and 90% of it was sold DTC. And so I had a wealth of knowledge that I could share with other winery brands. And, I spent 2.5 years there and had a great experience doing that, but it was time to move on. And I decided I wanted to go back onto the winery side. I missed that. And I had given my 2 weeks notice, and I was in that period, and Wine Shipping called me during that 2 weeks. And I thought, you know what? I'll explore that opportunity. We'll see what it is. Can't hurt anything. And when I started to talk to Wine Shipping, they were really excited. They were on this cusp of building all of this new technology. And, you could just tell there was this energy to Wine Shipping about all the change and things that they were doing, trying to be better partners, and really wanted more of that winery mind to Wine Shipping. And they shared with me their stands. And Wine Shipping stands are unity, simplicity, and fun. And I love simplicity and fun. I mean, wine shipping is a blast to work at, but really unity is what is near and dear to my heart. We are a very collaborative organization, and in my job, I get the opportunity to work with our clients and hear and listen to them, and how can we do better as we've been building out this new technology platform. And, I really feel that unity message is just, it's what I love and what makes wine shipping fun, because I love taking that feedback from our winery clients and then bringing it to our development team, bringing it to our executives, and, and then implementing that change. So, one of our executives was out into, the wine world, whatnot, and they were asking, what have you heard about wine shipping? And somebody said, wine shipping 2.0. And and I'll say wine shipping is probably more like 4.0 or 6.0, because, we started in a garage 26 years ago. So, and now look at us. We're located in 5 different strategic regions across the United States. We represent over 1,000 brands. And, we're in this process of even going even farther, because we just last week officially announced and expanded that we're not only direct-to-consumer fulfillment anymore. We have expanded into direct-to-trade, wholesale fulfillment, and long-term storage. So this is a new avenue for us. We're an omni-channel fulfillment house now, and there's really, truly endless possibilities in working with us. So, if you want to learn more, come talk to us over at our booth. But today we're going to talk about the agenda of, the problem. I'm going to go over the problem of, how do we get our product to our customers and make it a really positive post-purchase experience? Different strategies what has evolved over the last 5 years. And then, we'll do some question and answers at the end. So the problem. The problem is that the wine delivery experience can be frustrating to our customers. And I think anybody and everybody knows that, right? And our customers believe that, we're responsible for what those drivers do. Just was hearing a story about that a second ago. But, Amazon has really changed the consumer base worldwide, right? I mean, if you know their mission is to be the #1 most consumer-friendly, consumer-centric company in the world. They evolved. They started off selling books, and look at them now. I mean, we all know what the Amazon purchasing experience is like. It's super easy. I mean, they make that checkout experience just smooth as butter. You know exactly what's going on with your purchases. And, and our customers expect us to be just like Amazon. But of course, we know we're not Amazon. We are in a very complex industry. We have to have and abide by different state regulations to bring our product there. 50 different states, 50 different rules. On top of that, you have to have someone sign for the package. You cannot leave it on the front door, and that person also needs to be 21 to sign. And we have a premium product. People spend hundreds of dollars for that package to be delivered. On top of that, it's heavy, it's fragile, it's temperature sensitive, and we have some really demanding customers that we're dealing with. So, we are not going to be Amazon. We don't deliver socks and just have it dropped off on our front door. But there are opportunities for us to give our customers a premium post-purchase experience. So I'm going to talk about some strategies, the first one being evolution. So this is an interesting statistic. Before the pandemic, about 80% of our customers who did Wine Club was able to get those club packages to their customers in a commercial address. They were sending them to work. But that's all changed. Work from home is huge now, and there has been a real big shift between commercial delivery to our customers to residential. Consumer habits have changed, right, in the last 5 years. 5 years ago, I certainly was not going and my phone, no less, ordering my groceries and having them delivered. But we all now walk around, right, with a little computer in our pocket. And, it's really easy for us to be able to buy anywhere and anytime. And that has evolved, right? Our consumer purchasing power and how we purchase things has really evolved. Obviously, we've been hearing about how much technology has changed, and it continues to change, and we must continue to keep up with that because the younger generation, they are the technology generation, and so, we can't just, say, well, we don't do that. We just, we grow grapes and we sell our wine in our tasting room or whatnot. The next generation expects us to be technologically advanced. And with that, consumer expectations have really changed. And then what's really changed in the last 5 years is carrier services have actually changed. So before the pandemic, the carriers were not delivering on the weekends. They had to, or if they did, you were paying for that extra fee for the Saturday delivery. But now carriers deliver 6 days a week. You can see right over here, FedEx is reaching 98% of the U.S. population for Saturday delivery, and UPS is at 90%. And I would even say that FedEx actually does deliver on Sunday too to about 70% of the population, as long as you're shipping ground. And the benefits of that is it offers greater flexibility to your customers because they're home. It gives you more opportunity to, get your product to your customers. And, the first delivery attempts go up because people are around. The other big evolution that has really changed is carrier holdout locations. So right now, between UPS and FedEx, there are over 28,000 locations that will accept alcohol. And if holdout locations are not part of your communication and strategy of getting your product to your customers, that's something that you can implement today, right now. You should be talking about that with your customers because that is an option. So why use holdout locations? Well, first and foremost, it's customer convenience and security. They are not sitting around, waiting around for that delivery to happen. It avoids losses. Those failed attempts means that those drivers are going up to the door and then they're putting it back into the truck and then it's hot. So there's just lots more chances for things to go wrong in the process. And again, it just really truly elevates the delivery experience because there's no failed attempt. They can go and pick up at their leisure. They usually have about 5 business days to go pick up. And they, excuse me, some water. Thanks, sorry about that. You have endless communication opportunities depending on your technology to be able to let them remind them it's time to go pick up their package. So I was mentioning that wine shipping was on an evolution for technology, and part of that is that we have spent the last 2.5 years building a new portal. We call it the Awesome Client Portal. And if you're a wine shipping client, thank you, because last year I know that you were straggling both the classic portal and the new portal. We retired the old portal last year, and now we're on to one portal, the Awesome Portal. And part of our Awesome Client Portal is that we have premium tracking. And what premium tracking is it's a partnership that we have with Aftership, who is the #1 post-purchase communication tool out there worldwide. They are integrated with 1,000 worldwide carriers, right? It's a white label software, meaning that your customers have no idea that any communication is happening from Aftership. It's coming from you. You have the opportunity to fully customize your emails. It also has out-of-the-box SMS texting. So if you were in here and you were listening to Jenny from Red Chirp, it also integrates with Red Chirp or Klaviyo if you use that as a software. But if you don't, no special thing to sign up. You can just turn on texting, and those notifications will go out to your customers. It also allows you to have what we call a branded tracking page. And if you can see over here, this is an example of Limerick Lane. They're one of our clients. And when the customer opens up that email or text and it says track my package, you're going to go on to a tracking page that looks like your brand. You're no longer sending your customers to a carrier site. So you can see up here that there are links to going back into their website. There's, direct links to sign up to come visit. But there's also that obviously really important tracking information for your customers. So you're keeping your tracking and your branding connected, and your brand is going through that entire post-purchase experience, and you're keeping it front and center with your customers. The other really powerful thing that we've been able to do with this software is to be able to look at the tracking and shipment experience for all of our customers in one place, which gives us a massive amount of data to look at. So I asked the question, how many packages actually start with a hold at location address? And you can see here that right now, this was over the last 4 months, about 4.2% originally are sent to a hold at location. And you can see over here, at 2% are redirected. I mean, there's massive opportunity right here, right, to bring that number up and increase the first delivery attempt to your customers, and just reduce that frustrating experience, because your customers can pick up, those hold at locations often are open, 8 or 9 o'clock at night. The other interesting thing about the 4.2% is that, just 6 months ago, we were half that number. So, well, how did we get it? How did we get it to up? Well, we continue to innovate, and we collaborate, and we are now working with a technology company called Via.Delivery. And now what Via.Delivery does is they offer a technology solution that is part of the POS checkout system. And what that does is it allows your customers to choose that hold at location from the beginning. And Via collects a lot of data, and they're always wanting to know, why do people love their software? And you can see that 40% of people are choosing that because they are not home to sign. 18% believe it's cheaper, 16% say it's more secure, 15% say it's faster, and 4% say it's green. And green was interesting to me. I said, well, green? What are we talking about green? But you know what? Then I thought about it a little bit more, and those carriers are not having to drive around all the addresses. They're able to deliver those packages in bulk in one location. So here is an example of the checkout experience. So this is our client Mesa, and you can see right here that they're right at the checkout. It's giving you the option here: $20 for ground, $50 next day air, or pick up at a nearby Walgreens. And your customer can just click that, and we had no idea exactly how successful this was going to be when we implemented it. And we're seeing that, as low as 15% adoption from the get-go, as high as some of our brands that have implemented this technology to 30%. So right now, Via is just through Shopify, but I do have the CEO here from Via sitting in the front row right over here, and he will. We are actively working with him to bring this technology to more POS systems. But again, as our customers started to implement this technology, one of the things and strategies that they did, here's Dina Ghosh, they went ahead and sent out an email saying, hey, our checkout experience is changing. So there's now going to be these options for hold at locations. So again, constantly communicating with your customer about these new opportunities and new ways to communicate. But then if you say, well, okay, great, Karen, but I don't have Shopify, I can't do that, right now. So this is a strategy that I am now working with our customers to do. And so you can see here, this is an email. Its estimated delivery date has changed. And right there is the track your order status. That's going to take your customer to that branded tracking experience. But what I'm really encouraging people to do is to add some verbiage and language here into their email. It does not matter who you work with or who sends out your emails. Anybody can do this today. And that is, letting them know that plans change. If you need to redirect your order to a different address, simply click Manage My Delivery. This is going to take them to the carrier site and go through that process so they can take responsibility for their packages. I'm working with our clients on putting this in their email communications, and it's been really successful. But holdout locations do more than just increase the first-time delivery rate. They also can help prevent returns. So I'm going to pick on P. Smolarkowitz. He's actually in the audience right now. This was his buying experience. He ordered some wine from Pride Mountain Vineyards, and he thought, oh, sure, it's going to arrive when my daughter's on spring break and I'm taking time off. But lo and behold, he was off running around with his family. And you can see here that it was out for delivery and it failed. And then it was out for delivery and it failed. And then he realized, oh my gosh, I cannot let this return. I am the mastermind between Awesome Client Portal. And I'm going to need to make sure I get this to a holdout location. So he went through the whole process. And sure enough, he rescheduled it to pick up at a holdout location, and lo and behold, not 10, 20 minutes later, FedEx actually called him and said, okay, we got your redirect request, and the driver's in the neighborhood. You chose a location really close to where you live, and we're just going to have him drop it off over there. Now, of course, I don't think that that expectation should be set for anybody, but, above and beyond in this moment. And sure enough, Paul went ahead and picked up his delivery. Here you have a picture of him picking it up at Walgreens. They're scanning his driver's license, and you can see that there was the failed and the pickup actually happened on the same day. So, returns are a pain point for us in the wine industry. Nobody wins when there is a return. Your customer certainly doesn't win. You as the winery don't win because you're paying for that return. I'll tell you, your shipping department or your wine shipper does not win because we're dealing with that return package and expecting the wine and making sure if it's okay and putting it back into inventory, right? And then even the carriers don't win on the returns because, every time they have those failed attempts over and over and over again, it costs them money to do all of those deliveries. So nobody wins on a return, and whatever we can do to prevent returns, we should be doing it. So I'll take a moment and let you guys just look at this right over here. Part of our premium tracking software, we have an opportunity to ask our customers for feedback on their post-purchase experience. And, what I see when I look at this is that there is a 5-star review that says delivered on time. But when I dug in, I noticed that there had been an exception. And the package was actually delivered 2 days late. And with our technology and with the communications, the customers over and over again, hundreds of these kinds of reviews have been coming in where people are still believing that it delivered on time because they were communicated with the entire journey. And so as long as they know they don't have to be home to sign for it, they don't care. And that got me thinking, right? Like, do customers truly care what day their package actually ships on? And so I asked the question again. We have all this data. So what if you ship on Monday or Tuesday or Wednesday? Truly, what day does that give us to have the highest first-time delivery rate? So, I think there's been this preconceived notion that Monday has always been the best day to ship. Before the pandemic, I would probably say that, that probably was true. Especially because really the biggest strategy we had out there was to ship to a commercial address. E-commerce has really changed. How we purchase things has really changed. And now we're finding what's true is that 90% of shipments go to residential addresses. So our customers expect more from us. And so, should we be just shipping everything on one day, especially with our clubs? Coming to wine shipping and coming from the winery I worked at before, they were a self-fulfiller. And when we had a very large wine club, and we really weren't able to ship everything on one day. So it was really foreign to me that was the norm, that everyone just ships everything on Monday or Tuesday, no matter what. So again, I wanted to understand, is that really, that methodology really worked? Because, that wasn't the methodology that I came from. So we looked at the first time delivery success for Express, and the best days to ship for that first time delivery rate was Wednesday or Thursday. But truly, there are no bad days. I always tell our clients that you should strive for an 85% first time delivery rate for your packages overall. So if you're at 85 or better, you're doing great. But what was really surprising to me was really more of the ground. So the best days to ship short zone is Tuesdays and Wednesdays. The worst days to ship short zone are Thursday to Fridays. Now that one didn't really surprise me. But what did surprise me was that now the best days to ship long zone are Monday and Thursday. Now Thursday I was always a big proponent of, right, for long zones. You leave on Thursday, that package is traveling through the weekend and it arrives out on the East Coast. But Monday was like, what? But again, the carriers have evolved and changed, and now they're delivering more often. And so we're seeing successful higher delivery rates with long zone on Monday. So, I just want us to kind of rethink necessarily that does it make sense for us to always be shipping our club only on one day for our customers? And then you might actually say to me, well, Karen, yeah, but my POS system doesn't allow me to I have to pick a date. And, that's fine. You should pick a date. That's not really your responsibility as to what day it actually ships out. Your responsibility for shipping and communicating with your customers is giving the expectation about when it's about to arrive, right? So in your communication, it's not your package is going to ship on this day. It's your package is going to arrive the week of, right? And then you give your shipping department or your wholesale fulfillment company those instructions. My customers expect the package to arrive in this time frame. You send out on the days that it's going to successfully deliver the best. So just a different way of thinking of things, and again, not always doing the same thing the way we've always done it. You can imagine, as Director of Client Change Management, that is not my favorite saying. So I'm always encouraging people to rethink and question, why are we doing things? Does that make sense for us? Another piece for your strategy that I truly encourage you to do is to educate your staff about shipping. And you absolutely should be talking to your staff and teaching them how to say Gewürztraminer and how to say malolactic fermentation and what is barrel aged and how to sell your wine, right? But you know what? Getting the product to your customer should also be part of the training for your staff. Your staff needs to understand that each state has different rules, that your staff, that someone has to sign for the package, and let them know and understand the different types of shipping opportunities that are available. Hold at locations exist, and they should be talked about with your customers. Let them know about ice pack shipping. You don't have to limit your shipping to just being during those really beautiful spring and fall perfect weather times, because there have been evolutions in packaging and options in terms of temperature control shipping, whether it be through your shipping company. Wine Shipping has an awesome temp control service. But we also have, FedEx Cold Chain, and there are other options out there. And then even more important is the people who are front and center in your tasting room. So part of my training when I worked at my winery was we had to talk shipping with everybody once they had decided to buy, because we were 90% DTC. So shipping was our strategy in getting to our product to our customers. So, make sure your staff is asking questions to their customers. Have your staff ask the customer, where do you live? When will you be home to take does it make sense? If you don't ask that question and they're buying the wine, they live in San Francisco, but they're headed up to Humboldt County, well, it's one day from, Sonoma or Napa to the Bay Area. And so that is going to be a failed delivery attempt. And also, have them ask, would you like your package to be held at a hold-at location, and explain to them the benefits, educate the customer about hold-at locations. They may not realize that would remove a pain point. Have a map, a shipping map, available to your staff in the tasting room to just pull out and start to ask those questions. You're here in California, and they're like, yeah, I'm in Florida. And you're like, yeah, Florida, okay, let's talk about it. I'm thinking maybe Thursday would be a great day to send your package. Do you care when it arrives? Asking those questions. And then this really worked for me, or for the winery I worked at, is we offered a very small discount for having your package shipped to a commercial address or a hold-at location. It was $2. It's not a lot of money, but you know what? It's amazing how many people will do anything to save their $2. And right there will increase that first-time delivery rate, because it's going to deliver at that first attempt. So, think about those just small little things. I remember having these conversations where people would be like, my mom, I think she could take delivery of it. She works here and they allow it, because I work at a school and I can't send alcohol. People really will start to think outside the box just to save that $2. And then, setting expectations. I think this is a really important one, setting expectations with your customer. If you are a type of winery that does a lot of releases, and you're taking money ahead of time for the wine and then it's going to all ship out, hey, send a reminder out and, make sure that everything is good to go, nothing's changed. Let them know that, hey, we're about to ship, let us know. So pre-shipment email communication, or text, if you're using Redshirt. Also, including that language like we talked about, need to change your delivery in your communication. In your email communications, make sure that it has those tags where it says, the estimated delivery date is gonna come. Have the address that, you're shipping to as part of in your email. There are merge tags that easily can add that to it. And then make sure you mention the expectations that somebody 21 and over needs to sign for the package. And then, if you were in here for the Red Shirt talk, please consider SMS in your strategy. People look at their text messages in real time. I know I probably only look at my personal email like once or twice a day, but I will look at my texts immediately. So with our premium tracking software, that software is carrier event-based communication, meaning the moment that your carrier scans the event, your customer is communicated to. So it's not, system A talking to system B, talking to system C, and then it gets to your customer. I think we've all had that experience, right, where, it says, out for delivery, you get that email and it's already sitting in your house. And that's because that's the delay of the systems talking to each other. Our software is in real time. So the second the carrier scans it is the second your customer is notified. I truly believe that SMS will help increase that first time delivery, sending those communications of the delivery experience. And then, I also just really want to stress that you cannot over-communicate about the post-purchase. So you can over-communicate on marketing, but you cannot over-communicate when somebody has just spent a lot of money with you and now they want to get their product. They want to know when it's going to arrive. You cannot over-communicate. I stress that over and over again. So here are the shipping notifications, whether it's text or email, that I recommend that help increase the first-time delivery rate. Obviously in transit, but we are no longer in a world where it is acceptable to send out one email that says in transit with a tracking number. Like, that's no longer an acceptable. We must rise and be better. Out for delivery, estimated delivery date is revised. This is one that I really love. I know I've talked about it more than once because, things change along the way. And it's really great when, everything's going on time. But, sometimes when I started to pull the data, I saw that 5 to 7% of the time, depending on the carriers actually deliver early. And if there is absolutely nothing that has happened to, let the customer know that there might have been, usually those bumps, they'll get the exception emails. But, if it's going to arrive early, your customer will have no idea unless you turn that on. And then I also love the available for pickup because that is for a hold at location. It's not your tasting room. I have folks that always say, oh, I would never do that. But no, it's actually the pickup is for the hold at location. It's not from your tasting room. So truly, in summary, I truly believe that as an industry, we must evolve and meet our customers' expectations. We can do better. The technology exists. The carriers have evolved. They're shipping more times in the week. Our technology has evolved. And, by eliminating the friction, the problem of it being a frustrating experience to get our wine to them, it's going to make them want to reorder from you. And, we hear a lot about sales are down. Well, if it is a frustrating experience to get your product to them, then, they'll go find somewhere else to buy their product. On top of that, if you can reduce returns, that is going to save you money because it's less expense for you. And then, so it's a win-win all around, right? I mean, you are able to see more revenue because of you have reorders. On top of that, your expenditures go down. And most importantly, your customers are happier, right? And that's the most important thing. So I have some time right now to take any questions if anyone has done any. Nobody's done our special little app here, but happy to answer any questions.
In the last slide with where you recommend sending notifications, are there any of those that you would recommend sending an email and a text, or would you usually use one or the other?
Well, I truly don't believe that you can over-communicate, so I would say if you have both strategies to go for it. If you're going to be concerning about which texts you send out more than email, out for delivery, hands down, is the text to send. I also tell folks to turn on failed attempt, which this is not what this conversation is about, but yes, out for delivery, hands down, is going to give you the most bang for your buck if you're just going to be disconcerting. Yeah.
How do you deal with summer shipping with the temp control with the first attempt, where it's kind of in the dark for some time?
Well, lucky you ask. I can only speak for us, wine shipping, but wine shipping actually, in our technology and premium tracking and our partnership with Aftership, we are a carrier, and so your customer knows that it's in transit on a temperature-controlled truck. So there is visibility on that branded tracking page. So your customer clicks track my package, and they'll get a message saying that tracking number is on a temperature-controlled truck. And then once it moves on to the hub closest to you, we have a couple of options. One, for temperature control, we can add an ice pack for that final mile, so that's temperature controlled, or at least, semi-temperature controlled, protected with packaging and ice. And that estimated delivery date revised is so it's been in transit with wine shipping as the carrier. Now when it goes into the carrier's hands, they scan it, and that estimated delivery date revised notification triggers to tell your customer that now it's in the carrier's hands and it will be delivered. So,
Can you give a date range when that package will be delivered, like certain date range?
yeah, so I have why don't you come see me at the booth and I'll show you my messaging. But yes, there's great messaging you can tell your customers.
You charge for the ice packs?
We charge you, yes, for the ice packs, the winery, and then it's up to you whether or not you pass those charges on to your customers.
Many wineries do that?
Oh, absolutely. Paul, do you have any? Paul, there. Let me introduce Paul Smolkowitz.
Hi, everyone. I'm famous now for my failed delivery attempts. Yes, in addition to, so with an ice pack shipment, it's not just about putting an ice pack in the box. We actually use different insulated packaging. We have several different options available at different price points. All of our options are eco-friendly, meaning we no longer ship any styrofoam at wine shipping. We have found alternatives to that. But basically, when you make an ice pack shipment with us, it includes insulated packaging. It includes obviously a frozen ice pack or two, depending on the size of the box. It also includes, when needed, protective wrapping of the bottles if it's a form of packaging that could result in condensation, that could wrinkle labels. So there's actually quite a bit that goes into a ice pack shipment. It's much more than just the ice. So yes, we do charge what we believe is a fair rate for that. Ice pack shipping, we're not the only provider that does ice pack shipping, but we can really only speak to how we do it.
What would you say a percentage of our clients use ice pack shipping? That I couldn't answer.
I think as a percentage of our clients, I would say 80%.
80%, yeah, it's pretty high.
Now, obviously, that's not 80% of shipments. In our technology, we also have a lot of cool, it's probably not quite AI, but sophisticated rules that make it easy for the technology to determine when a package should actually have an ice pack, meaning when it benefits. We use a combination of consumer preferences, but we also incorporate weather forecasts, and we know obviously the routing of that package. Is it going to be in transit for 2 days? Can we route it through a hub where we can insert the ice pack just for the last mile? So there's actually quite a bit that can go into ice pack shipping effectively, but there's also a lot of great tools and automation available these days to do that successfully. And in many cases, even though the cost of the insulated packaging and the ice pack has a cost, and that cost is typically $11 for a 6-pack, and I think $17 or so for a 12-pack. It can actually save money compared to priority overnighting a box, or even resorting to express. And in many cases, if done correctly, it provides better protection of that wine than even an express shipment would. So, it really requires kind of a comprehensive strategy. But again, whether you're doing your own fulfillment at the winery, or you're working with a 3PL, I really think you should be challenging them to solve some of these challenges, because it's what the consumers really deserve and need and want. Obviously, if you're working with us and this is the first time you're seeing this stuff, well, shame on us. Please reach out. We will absolutely help you take advantage of all of the services that we offer in a way that's most cost effective.
Any other questions? Nope. Great. Well, thank you all for joining us today. Again, I'm Karen Strykowski, Director of Client Change Management at Wine Shipping, and it's been a pleasure to talk to you this morning.